pushes out of the way after she blows him. And he goes back and talks to Mia. And Ruby is the leader of the cowboy people in the scooter with the megaphone. From Finishing Heaven. And yeah, the sequel to Generation I think maybe would be kind of a nice house in Hollywood Hills. Like a happy, you know, guy, like having a good time and, you know, basically just enjoying life.
I don't believe you at all.
All right.
It's like a guy who like went into the woods and found a bunch of cats.
And he made friends with the cats. And they spoke the same language.
Question.
Hi, how are you guys? Great film. It was really a pleasure to watch. How hard was it to keep that reveal of your profession towards the end? Because when Keanu was receiving the receipts, or getting the receipts out, for some reason I thought, because it was his birthday and the check line said medication, I thought that you were giving it to like the official drug guy for that. But then at the end, I was like, so how hard was that to keep that in your character, not to give that away so much? Because everyone was like crazy, and I have friends like that are just crazy, but then like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was just a driver. Yeah, just drove. Yeah, Charles was the pimp. But not really. He was like a manager from a service. It was very all professional, 9 to 5 kind of stuff, but 7 to. But you know, I think Mark sets up this mystery at the beginning of the film, like who are these 3 people coming into this car? And the film, you know, bookends itself with that, except for the title credits stuff, which wasn't in those scenes, wasn't in the script. So, and there's cues throughout the film that kind of give this idea of who are these girls, what do they do, and who is John, and what does he do, and if you're familiar with any of the cues, then you'll know, and if you don't, then you go to Drugland, or there's like, what is it? And I think that's part of, I think, what you were doing when you talk about Hitchcock, with pressure in the frame, or, you know, clues during the story that it kind of keeps you in. There's a sub-story going on.
It's all layers and levels. I mean, that's the brilliant part of the performances is, if you watch this film again, every single thing along the way has relevance. You don't know it while you're watching it because we stripped out all the context. The movie has no context. You have no backstory in any characters. We don't explain things. We just do them, or they do them, and then you just move on. And it's, in movies, every single thing that you see in a movie is important, and we're just playing with that here, you know, and it's playing with what is important, and what we perceive as important, and how do you push and pull and create tension and false expectation and hope, and this is all a metaphor for the journey the characters are going through, you know. But yeah, at the same time, that was part of, we talked a lot about structure and just sort of, you know, I wanted to, you know, at the end I wanted to kind of make a suspenseful, you know, mystery, like action-y kind of building up, scary. I wanted to cut it like a horror film. Yeah, I mean, I had all these stuff, you know, and that's, so, you know, played with all those genres and devices, and that's the film. I mean, the film is it's a filmmaker film to me, you know, on some level. But during our first coffee, we talked about a lot of this stuff, and
Yes.
I think I did this a lot.
You did.
Exactly. And you just kind of smiled and, like, you know, interacted, and then, like, we were talking, and, like, the movie started. And that's that. So yes, the answer is yes.
Purple shirt.
I have a question for Mr. Reeves. It's been about 5 years now since you've made a major studio film, and this marks your 3rd independent feature. So I was just kind of curious what made you switch over and start getting into the independent movie movement.
You know, it's a I mean, I think I've been making independent films ever since I began, even with River's Edge and continuing with my own Private Idaho, or Scattered Darkly, or Thumbsucker, or just even like Feeling Minnesota. I don't know. I mean, for me, it's always been in different kinds of stories. And then in terms of like big budget Hollywood studio films, I haven't had as many opportunities to do them, so I guess I don't get to do them. So the last one that I had a chance to perform, it hasn't come out yet. It's called 47 Million. They tell me that might come out at the end of the year. So I like that.
Yes.
I think the title of the film is very telling, but I'd just love to hear you talk about the statement you're making about Generation. Who is Generation? And what are you trying to say about them?
When you say telling, what do you mean? What is it telling you?
Well, it's getting the title and then watching the film. It just seems to me as though what you're trying to say is that it's a lost generation. Nobody really knows what they're about. And I just wondered if that's really what you're trying to say.
I think that's definitely a piece of it. Just that word, I think, was the impetus for the entire story. It's audible pause. The whole movie is an audible pause, and that's, in my mind, that's where it fits. It's sort of the schematic of cinema. Do I sound like I know what I'm talking about? It's just kind of, I was looking at New York too, and I was looking at the way that, I finished this script right at the end of the, Bush was just out and Obama was just in, and I was not in a good mood, okay? And I had this whole NPR addiction, and it was just like I couldn't stop listening to the doom and the gloom of it all, and at the end of the day, I was starting to get into my, I was approaching 40, and at this point I had made the documentary, so I had a sense of purpose in my life, but I kind of took myself back to the point before that where I just didn't know what the hell I was doing.